Welcome to SkwidVids. My name is Robert. Today I'm going to be installing an SC project that I got from Motivation USA. I'm going to leave a link in the description where you guys can get one of these yourself. I'm installing it on my 2021 Aprilia RS 660. It's in pieces right now because I attempted to fit the bodywork and I ran into a couple of issues, and one of them being I had to remove the OEM exhaust ahead of time. I wanted to record that so that way I can show you guys how to do that as well, but I'll show you guys what I did the best that I can and show you how to mount the new SC project. Hopefully I could spare you guys some of the hassle that I had to go through when I was taking off my OEM exhaust. One of the first things that you're gonna have to do, not one of, the first thing that you'll have to do other than removing your fairings, is you're gonna have to either remove or loosen your radiator. And the reason why you're gonna need to do that is you don't wanna try to wedge any tools in this space here because these fins on the radiator are really delicate and they're very easy to bend, and you don't wanna do that. You don't wanna spend time trying to pick those back into place. So that's what I'd start with, and there's only a couple of fasteners. So if we zoom in here, you can see that there's a fastener here, and there's one on the other side that you'll have to remove in order to loosen this thing. So once you've got it loosened, you can go ahead and break free the flange nuts that are on the OEM exhaust. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. So these are your flange nuts. These are what you're going to want to remove after you've removed the radiator or loosened the radiator. Next thing you're going to have to remove are your lambda probes. So you have two of these things. You have one on each side of your header, and before you try to unscrew these things from the header, you're going to want to disconnect them first. These connectors are kind of buried up in the frame a little bit, just up there. Sorry, I'm not doing a good, somewhere up there. You'll find them. But disconnect those first before trying to unscrew this thing, because if you do, you could end up twisting this wire here, which could be a problem. I don't know, but I just try to play it safe these days. Now we're on the back side of the bike taking a look at one of the mounting points. If you look at, basically it's just underneath your rear sets here. If you, let me zoom in here so you can see better. That's one of your mounting points for the exhaust. So after you've loosened the header, you removed your lambda probes, then you can loosen this one up and you can remove your heat shields that are on the OEM exhaust. After you've done that, the thing should wiggle out fairly easily. It's kind of hefty, so just be careful and make sure not to, again, hit those fins on your radiator. As far as instructions, this is what you get. You get an illustration. It does tell you what parts go where, but it doesn't tell you in which order to assemble anything. So I think we'll be able to figure it out. I think I'm going to start with the headers and then just work my way back gradually, and we'll see how it goes. As far as packaging is concerned, every individual piece comes in bubble wrap, which is pretty nice. It protects the titanium. If you don't already know about titanium, this stuff stains very easily, and what I mean by staining is, like, if you leave your fingerprints on this and you go to fire up the bike, you can actually see those. It kind of stains into the metal. So make sure you have clean hands when you're doing this, and then before you fire the bike up, make sure you wipe every bit of titanium down, otherwise that stuff will stain on there. So, as I said, I'm gonna install the lambda probes first. It's supposed to be 25 Newton meters for these things, but I don't have the means to torque that to spec. So I'm just gonna guess what 25 Newton meters feels like. The two header pieces connect here. I'll do this first, and then I'll mount them up. Unfortunately, I lost audio while I was trying to record, so I'm just gonna do a voiceover here. I'm explaining that I'm doing everything hand tight for now. You don't want to tighten anything up until you've fitted the entire exhaust, and just make sure that everything lines up accordingly. Also giving you another warning about your radiator and suggesting that maybe it'd be easier to just remove it. If you have the means to, you have the time and patience. I do not, so that's why I left it on. And the kit came with this ceramic paste. I've never used it before, and there's no instructions on how to use it, but it's pretty safe to assume that it would go in between all of the connecting joints. So I did that. I just kind of applied it, not too liberally. I didn't want to make a mess or anything, but I just made sure that everything was kind of evenly coated and started fitting the pieces together. The mid pipe slid together really easily, and I think especially with that ceramic paste, that's probably why it's there. With the ceramic paste around the end of the mid pipe, I'm sliding on the exhaust muffler. Thing looks awesome. Probably shouldn't have too much weight on it. I probably shouldn't be doing that because you can damage the seals that are on your headers. So I think what you should be doing is mounting the bracket where the passenger pegs used to be, and that's what I'm pointing at right here. Mount the bracket first and then mount the muffler, so that way there's not too much weight on the header. Again, I'm doing everything hand tight at the moment, just making sure everything lines up, make sure there's adequate clearance, especially down near the swing arm. At the bottom of the swing arm, you can see it's really close to the pipe, so keep that in mind when you're fitting yours, that you got to check clearances and stuff before you tighten everything up to spec. Now we're looking at the underside of the bike, under the swing arm. And this is the mid pipe mounting location. Unlike the OEM, a bolt doesn't go straight through. The kit comes with a relocation bracket, and that's what that black piece is. And I would recommend fitting your rubber spacers and your washers before trying to mount that underneath, because I didn't do that and it made it harder for myself, but only took a couple extra minutes. Also, these nuts don't have any sort of locking mechanism on them, so they're not nylon or nylock nuts. So I'd recommend putting just a drop of medium strength Loctite on there.
Apologies for the technical difficulties, but I got audio back now, and as you could see, I have the entire SkwidVids mounted, and I tightened everything down according to OEM torque specs. And so there's really nothing else to do except fire this thing up, and let's see how it sounds. We're gonna start her up with the baffle in first. All right, not gonna lie, that DB killer took a little finessing to get out. And by finessing, I mean some locking pliers and a whole bunch of force, but we got it. All right, that's it for the installation. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this helped some of you out there, and stay tuned because there will be more to come.